All day for live from the KERN studio. Here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. For those subscribing on YouTube, it's the Daily Show on a Thursday. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. Chris Burdick producing the broadcast on this 8th day of January. We've got another outstanding radio broadcast. We've got more from Minneapolis. The Zach Scrivener story is going national, and there is a growing consensus appealing the Attorney General's office to explain why Zach Scrivener was charged as he was. We'll unpack that. It's a Thursday, so Mike Turnipseed will be here, along with our money man, Daniel Petrey. There's a murder mystery in Columbus, Ohio. We'll delve into that. And the Venezuelans are releasing political prisoners, meaning the president's abduction of Nicolas Maduro is already paying off. Life in Venezuela is better. You can argue that. We'll get into that just a little bit. And I have found the next Raider coach.
Okay, I'll bite. Who?
You can't take an educated guess based on recent current events?
John Harbaugh?
Negative.
Mike McDaniel?
Negative.
John Gruden?
Who else got fired?
Got fired. Stefanski?
Oh, please.
Okay,
Negative.
is it somebody who got fired this year?
Somebody got fired yesterday. Hence my epiphany.
The only one that I remember that got fired yesterday was Harbaugh.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Ah, true. He was, well, yeah.
Either OC or head coach. I don't care.
No, whatever. I think he's looking for a head coaching job right now. But yeah,
Good.
absolutely.
Bring him in.
I could see it.
Get Mendoza. Let him be the horse whisperer to Mendoza. And we're 10-7.
You think a 10-7 turnaround?
I thought I was being modest. Yeah.
I'll give you guys
9-8.
7-10.
I
think that's a pretty good turnaround.
Well, let's wait for April. Let's wait for the draft.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens, because a lot of things could happen. We'll get into that. But we begin with the vice president uncharacteristically attacking the press office. I know that Carolyn Levitt is pregnant. She is having her second baby with her old man. And I don't mean that in a slang term. I mean that literally. Hey, Siri, how old is Carolyn Levitt's husband?
Okay, I found this on the web.
Why can't you just tell me? Why can't you just tell me? I have to go look it up. She's 32, and her husband is 59. He's my age. She's 32 years old and gorgeous. Just saying. And they're on their second baby. Just saying. I meant that literally. So it was the vice president who took over the press room instead of Carolyn Levitt. It had nothing to do with the pregnancy. I just wanted to talk about her old husband, if you want the truth. But it was, I don't know. I've got so many mixed feelings about what is going on now. I did see the angle that Howard Marcus alluded to yesterday, and it is clear that Jonathan Ross, the 10-year vet ICE agent, was in fact struck, which I think has to end the conversation. I really do, in terms of his responsibility and his mindset. I think we have to think more complicated. And I think in this divided world of ours, and I don't mean to get too philosophical, but in this divided world of ours, it's hard for us to think that complex, that two things can be true at the very same time. A, I do not believe that Renee Good a 37-year-old mom of 3 who just lost her husband about 2 years ago was trying to run down Jonathan Ross. I do not believe that. But as I said yesterday, the bottom line is she was approached by law enforcement. They told her to get out of the car. They tried to open her car door, and she drove away. As I said yesterday, and if you don't believe me, ask any law enforcement person you know. If you're talking to a police officer and he suspects you of a crime, even a traffic stop, do you know how many, I watch these reels late at night before I go to bed. Do you know how many reels I've seen of simple traffic stops, speeding, ran a stoplight, and the driver refuses to give their credentials, their identification, and the officer says, get out of the car, and they refuse to get out of the car, and the officer literally breaks the window and drags the driver out of the car? That is damn near commonplace. So my point is, she did not pay attention to a legal law enforcement order. I don't think she was trying to run the man down, but the fact of the matter is she sped off from law enforcement. She struck this man, who we now know was involved in a similar incident. And so imagine what he's thinking. 6 months ago, he was the guy that was approaching the car. He was the man who put his arm in the window. The driver apparently rolled the window up, took off, and dragged him for about a length of a football field. He had 33 stitches in his left or right leg. So imagine what he's thinking when he sees his fellow officer with his hand in the vehicle trying to open the car door, and the woman or the driver isn't complying. Now, do I believe that he could have stepped aside? Absolutely. That's what I would have done. I would have simply stepped aside. But we can't think the way he thinks, he thought. We don't know what was going on in his mind. And the bottom line is, as we've all been taught, just cooperate with the police. Why was she there in the first place? Now, that's one thing. What happened today with the vice president, I think, was not necessary. The Trump administration, at the outset of an investigation, has essentially made a conclusion. The president of the United States has made a conclusion. The vice president of the United States has made a conclusion. The secretary of Homeland Security has made a conclusion. And that's just not protocol. It's just not. You say, let's wait, let's investigate this, and then we'll make a conclusion. But you can't come out, as the vice president did, as we'll hear after the break, and absolutely castigate the media, although the media is culpable in perpetuating their side of the story. Pay attention to the coverage tonight when you go home. They will never, on MSNBC or CNN, they will never mention the fact that the officer was struck by the vehicle. They will never mention that. I've been watching the coverage since about 7 o'clock last night till about 2 o'clock this afternoon. The vice president mentioned it again. You'll hear that audio when we come back. They talk about it in great detail on Fox, but on MSNBC or MSN Now, whatever the Sam Hill it is, and on CNN, they never mention the fact that the man was struck, which I think is absolutely telling. And they are creating the narrative from one angle that this man should be prosecuted. And that is exactly what they're suggesting. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back and get into that. And then we will get back into the Scrivener case at some point at the day. This story has not only reached the LA Times, but the New York Post has done a story on this, and there is growing sentiment. I think there's an opportunity where Rob Bont is going to be placed in a corner where he's going to have to, at some point, release information on how they made a decision that would absolutely place Zach Scrivener in a lane where he could receive mental health diversion as opposed to being charged with sexual crimes and having to register as a sex offender. We'll delve into that. Then at the top of the hour, Mike Turnipseed, 4:30, Daniel Petrey, and we'll get into the murder mystery in Columbus where a dentist and his wife were gunned down in their home with their 4 and 1 year old in the home, but they were not harmed at all. There is a person of interest caught on video cams and some strange 911 calls. It is a weird mystery. But you know my thesis on the 21st century, you can't get away with murder. You can't. Can't get away with murder in the 21st century. Just can't. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk a little sports. I believe Cliff Kingsbury is our answer in Las Vegas. We'll talk about that. And the Rio Bravo story, I don't even want to talk about. I heard some salacious rumors about all that, and just such a ridiculous story. But don't be expecting to play any golf out there anytime soon, unless, of course, you're on a college or a high school team, which I don't understand. How they can shut down the golf course, but it's open to college and high school kids? So what, the staff is out there for BC and Garces? Or whoever plays? What are you going to do? Quick time out. We're just getting started. You're going to hear from the Vice President of the United States when we come back. It's TRBS on a Thursday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Oh, our favorite DUI gal got to spend her birthday in jail, and I couldn't be even more excited. Miss Madison Williams, I hope you enjoyed your birthday in jail. I hope you enjoyed Christmas in jail. And I truly do hope, like you have claimed, to have found God. Please, please get some help.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. If you're eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. You know, for years, I've been telling you QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today, 661-554-4544, and let us help you understand your options for 2026. Call today, $39. 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544.
Hell yeah.
Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs and meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Download see if you qualify for Albert Instant Advance. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription is required for Instant Advance. Please see the Albert app or albert.com for subscription pricing. Subscriptions can be canceled at any time.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? You can get up to a $1,000 advance fast to pay for car repairs, bills, rent, groceries, whatever you need. Plus, Albert can help you find ways to save and give you a custom budget to actually grow your money.
Albert can get me up to $1,000?
Exactly. But they do more than get you up to $1,000. Albert is your financial assistant, helping you budget, save, and spotting you money in a pinch.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code MONEY to get up to $1,000 for your bills, rent, groceries, and more. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code MONEY to get up to $1,000. Use code MONEY to get up to $1,000.
Don't act like that. Don't wear that. Don't think that.
I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different, and I want you to know that you can be vulnerable and powerful, that taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love and who loves you. Love your mind. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Not again. This copier is always jamming.
We should call American Business Machines.
Since 1927, American Business Machines, an authorized Canon dealer, has been providing reliable office solutions. From state-of-the-art copiers to advanced printers, we ensure your business runs smoothly. Visit abm1.com or call us today at 1-877-YES-ABM1. That's 1-877-937-2261. American Business Machines, your trusted partner for all your office technology needs.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KE.
It's Elvis's birthday. You know who told us that, don't you? Lily Flores, a 9-year-old, told us that, who is celebrating her 9th birthday today as well.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? That was today.
Hers is tomorrow.
I thought you told me it was today. I just talked to her.
No, he was saying that he was having her on the show today, but her birthday is tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Vice President Vance took over the press room today in the White House to address. Actually, he was there to talk about Minnesota fraud and the whole Somalian situation, but obviously the press conference got out of control. And when you've got a room full of inside the Beltway reporters, they're going to ask anything they want, and the majority of the questions focused obviously on yesterday's shooting. And this is what I'm talking about, where I think they're not handling this thing well, where they are getting ahead of the investigation, where the president has made a conclusion. The president said that the woman ran him over, which is not anywhere near accurate. And then the vice president came on and exonerated him, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, came out and have already judge, jury, and conviction or acquittal of this guy, when there has to be an investigation. That is the process. Here is the vice president, and again, in my opinion, getting ahead of the investigation.
First of all, the Department of Justice is going to investigate this. The Department of Homeland Security is already investigating this. But the simple fact is, what you see is what you get in this case. You have a woman who is trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. Nobody debates that. You have a woman who aimed her car at a law enforcement officer and pressed on the accelerator. Nobody debates that. I can believe that her death is a tragedy, while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making and a tragedy of the far left, who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe against our law enforcement officers. I think what is clearly happening here, and it's going to keep on happening unless the Democrats wake up and say, you know what? You don't have to agree with our immigration policies. You don't have to agree with what the president or the vice president believe about immigration enforcement. But why don't you take this to the ballot box? Why don't you vote? Why don't you organize? Instead, what some of them are doing is encouraging people to get violent with our law enforcement officials. It's disgraceful, and it's got to stop.
Okay, let's take this one at a time. Because again, I think several things can be true. I think the latter part of his comments, that Democrats and liberals are encouraging violence and disruption among our ICE agents and law enforcement, is absolutely accurate. But politically, I think it is a gargantuan mistake to try to villainize this woman, to try to say that she aimed her car at the agent. That just, I'm sorry, You can disagree with me all you want. That didn't happen. That did not happen. Do you all really believe that this mother dropped her kids off at school at 8:30 and at 10:30 went looking for ICE agents to run over? Is that the scenario you all believe? Or that she panicked at that moment when the two officers came and she determined at that point that I'm going to run somebody over? I just don't buy that. I will never buy that. Now, did she disobey the law? Yes. And in doing so, she clipped an ICE agent. Now, I don't know what was in his head, but the scenario that the media is creating that she was shot from the side is inaccurate. We know that from the bullet in the windshield. Now, did the agent fire twice again from the side of the vehicle? Yes. Was that necessary? I don't think so. I don't think the entire shooting was necessary. I think he could have stepped aside. But again, two things can be true. You can say he could have stepped aside, but you can also say, because none of us are in his head, a former victim of being dragged by a vehicle by somebody who wasn't paying attention to law enforcement, whether he thought he was in imminent danger. Here is more from J.D. Vance now attacking the media, and this is worthy.
You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
The investigation is still ongoing.
I said next question.
See, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. Again, vilifying her. She tried to run him over with her car, and then being curt with the media. I said next question. That ain't presidential, JD. And you know that other guy in the cabinet that you're probably going to end up running against? He looks mighty presidential. That Cuban guy from Florida, Mr. Rubio. But you being curt, thinking you're a badass, thinking you're Kash Patel or Pete Hegseth, and you can be curt with the media, that doesn't play. Not if you want to be the leader of the free world. And this is what we're going to see coming out of the Republican Party, which is going to be a problem for whoever the nominee is. There's one Michael Jordan. There's one LeBron James. There's one Kobe. And there's one Donald Trump. And if high-ranking Republicans try to steal a page out of the Trump playbook and be Donald Trump, they're going to fail miserably. Nobody can explain the charisma, the forthrightness, the likability of Donald Trump. It's inexplicable. If you had told me after 2020 that I would be a full-throated supporter of this guy, I would have said you're nuts. But if these people try to vilify this woman and come to a conclusion before an investigation has really even gotten off its feet, politically, this is going to hurt the Republican Party. And in the end, we still got to remember and think about November. I don't know if you saw the clip the other day where Donald Trump said, if we don't win the midterms, I'm dead. They're going to impeach me. We're not going to get any legislation through. And remember what I've said is going to happen if we lose the midterms. They're going to get rid of the filibuster. And the first vote they're going to take is either making 2 new states out of Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C., and packing the United States Supreme Court.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With us for the news, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Minnesota must play a role in investigating the fatal shooting of a Minneapolis woman by an Immigration Customs Enforcement officer, Governor Tim Walz's assistant. Thursday, pushing back against the Trump administration's decision to keep the investigation solely in federal hands. The Transportation Department says North Carolina could lose nearly $50 million in federal funding if the state doesn't revoke commercial driver's licenses from immigrants who aren't qualified to hold them. North Carolina is the 9th state to be targeted since Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy launched the nationwide review last year. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 270 points. The Nasdaq dropped 104, the S&P up a fraction. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. American Airlines says you will not be able to get from Bakersfield to Dallas-Fort Worth on their airline from February 11th to April 7th. They say the decision to suspend flights during those weeks was a seasonal adjustment. Residents in the Green Acres area along Rosedale Highway may see 75 streetlights cut off because they rejected a proposal to add a $19 fee to their property taxes each year to keep them on. They are already paying a $28 fee. You're being promised some improvements on H Street, and the city of Bakersfield is inviting you to a community meeting to find out what those improvements will be Monday at 6 p.m. at Harvey Auditorium at Bakersfield High School. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
King Door Company continues to set the standard in the garage door industry, and I'm here to tell you a few of the reasons why. First off, King Door carries Clopay garage panels and LiftMaster openers, so you're guaranteed quality and reliability well beyond the reach of most garage door companies, and it just gets better from there. King Door has a fleet of fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and tools to handle any job quickly and efficiently, and those trucks are manned by the most knowledgeable technicians anywhere. They have all the technical expertise imaginable and the most up-to-the-minute training available. In fact, King Door is so committed to training that they have the King Door Academy, a full-size, state-of-the-art classroom right on the premises with all the latest teaching aids, including working garage doors to simulate any installation, repair, or technique. Your garage door is a very important part of the safety, security, and look of your home, so don't trust it to anyone but King Door Company. Call them today at 397-2744. Stop by the showroom at 7450 District Boulevard, or check them out.
Listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 10 a.m. First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
But I can't help falling in love with help falling in love with you. So the fight against the conclusion of the Zach Scrivener saga is ramping up big time. The story appeared in the Los Angeles Times, and that was the focus, the AG's office, and it was also apparently, I haven't had a chance to read it, JR just sent it to me, in the New York Post, and in a couple of the paragraphs at the bottom of the story, they quoted Donnie Youngblood from our show. Let me first get to what some of the new comments are coming from some of the legislators, namely Assemblywoman Jasmeet Bains, who wrote, "I've been asking the California Department of Justice to explain the lack of sexual abuse charges since May and have yet to receive a satisfactory answer. the DOJ and the courts have kept mostly every record. Jesus. Have kept nearly every record related to the Scrivener case sealed from public view. If they believe these were the right charges based on the facts, they should release the Scrivener files and let the public see what they are hiding. If they can do it for Epstein, they can do it for Scrivener. And that is becoming another part of this as well. The New York Post has a picture of Scrivener next to Epstein. So the comparisons are becoming vivid. Shannon Grove wrote, given the nature of the allegations against Zach Scrivener, I absolutely believe the Attorney General should explain the charges that were filed and the penalty or lack thereof that followed. And remember, that's what I've been screaming at you guys since this thing broke. This has nothing to do with Kern County. As much as we would like to blame Cynthia Zimmer, his aunt, as much as we would like to blame Sheriff Donnie Youngblood for accepting the phone call and sending his guys up there was nothing untoward about that. And there was no favor given, as far as we can see, from the DA's office to the AG's office. Now, we don't know because the AG's office has turned down a public records request made by KGT 17, but Mr. Flores, JR, has made a public records request from the Sheriff's Department, and he's seeking body cam video from the original encounter with Zach that infamous weekend in Tehachapi, which goes to Kathy Scrivener, who has essentially jumped into this thing for reasons that makes absolutely no sense. She should have just gone away quietly and walked away from this thing. But she wanted to respond to KGET's story that she is a mandatory reporter as a school board member and told her grandchildren not to cooperate with the police. So she wanted to deny that. Well, in doing so, you have essentially, Ms. Scrivener, called the deputies and the Attorney General's office a bunch of liars. And I don't think that's going to sit well with a lot of folks. So I wouldn't be surprised if in about 8 to 9 to 10 days, you hear on the JR show, perhaps audio from body cam of what exactly did go on that day and what exactly did Kathy Scrivener say. Because I'm sorry, I'm betting on the deputies. We had Kathy Abernathy in here, who was a close friend of Kathy Scrivener's. She never took defense of her. She never said there's no way Kathy did this. Kathy Abernathy sat here and acted like she never met the woman. It would seem to me if she didn't do this, friends and people around her would come to her aid, but ain't nobody speaking up for Kathy Scrivener. She is on her own on this. I haven't heard anything from Cynthia Zimmer, her sister. I haven't heard anything from Donnie Youngblood exonerating her. The sheriff exonerated Cynthia Zimmer in terms of the phone call, but I haven't heard anybody say anything in terms of defending Kathy Scrivener and telling those children not to speak to police authorities. Meantime, here is the sheriff from that interview we did on Christmas Eve.
The deputy called me and said, Supervisor Scrivener wanted to talk to me. I said, put him on the phone, still believing that he's having a psychotic episode only.
Right.
And he said, can you get these guys out of here? I'm fine. And my response was, no, they're going to do what they have to do. The deputy got back on the line, the sergeant, and he said, there's more to the story. I said, do what you're supposed to do. And never did the DA ask me to do a favor of any kind, any shape. All she did was give me the information that I just articulated to you. What she knew and when she knew it, that's for her to answer. I don't know the answer to that.
That's new information. I mean, it's not new now. It was new on Christmas Eve. That Zach Scrivener, who, again, was going through this mental episode, was bright enough, was aware enough, was mentally capable enough to get on the phone and beg forgiveness from Donnie Youngblood. Here is a man who was allegedly suicidal. Here is a man who just got stabbed by his sons. Here is a man who the deputies say was in bed with his 11-year-old daughter, who's depressed and anxiety and on cocaine and mushrooms and et cetera, benzos, blah, 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 blah. But he was savvy enough to get on the phone and ask Donnie Youngflip for a pass. That no one had reported until Christmas Eve. Here's more from our sheriff.
I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know the complexities of anxiety and whatever he's now diagnosed with. Right. But I do know that taking drugs, taking alcohol, and molesting your child or doing things inappropriate with your child is not an excuse.
That is absolutely right. It does demand the question, why would the family allow those 4 children in the home alone with a man that was going under all this mental stress and mental incapability? How was this man able to then, just months later, take a sophisticated graduate class at Cal State Bakersfield? And again, it gets back to the question that we've been asking since the very beginning of the trial. How in the world, how is it humanly possible that the Attorney General's office did not come up with one forensic psychologist, one physician that could remotely refuted the hand-picked psychologist by whom? Not by the judge, not by the AG's office, not by some independent panel, but by the man who was paid to get Zach Scrivener off. H.A. Sala. He came up with the doctor, and Joe Penny, this neophyte state attorney, didn't have the intelligence to say, maybe I should refute this guy. And again, remember, Mr. Sala's response was, they couldn't find anybody, Ralph. They couldn't find anybody to refute my guy. Now, that's Mr. Sala being an advocate, because we all know you can find a doctor that'll tell you a horse can deal poker. Are you kidding? It's just absurd. And this thing stinks to high heaven. It gets stinkier. I thought it was over. But coming up a little bit later in the program, we're going to talk with Lauren Skidmore from the Open Door Network, who has created a petition to the AG's office to explain what's going on. This thing is becoming the Epstein of Kern County. It really is, because it's all about paperwork. It's all about the discussions that went on to determine the charges that would specifically put Zach Scrivener in a lane where he could dodge being a sexual, had to register as a sexual deviant, and would put him in a lane for mental diversion. Those papers have to come out, and the pressure is mounting. It really is. And of course, you know what the AG's office is doing. If you know history, you know exactly what the AG's office is doing. They're pulling a page out of the Richard Nixon book. Nixon took tapes of himself for reasons no one still can explain. So obviously there were discussions about Watergate. And the Senate committee, led by a man by the name of Howard Baker out of Tennessee, wanted the tapes. And Nixon said, I'd love to give them to you. But that would stifle discussion in the White House. If leaders came into the Oval Office and thought they were being taped and thought that tape might be released, it would squelch discussion in the Oval Office. That's exactly what the AG's office said. that if we tell you how we make decisions on who gets charged with what, it might squelch the open discussion of our deputies and our attorneys. That is a bunch of crap. And I'm telling you, I think this momentum is mounting, and Rob Bonta is going to be in a tough position not to release those papers. And that's when we find out what the deal is. That's when we find out what the deal is. Why exactly did you put Zach Scrivener in a lane where he could dodge being a sexual registered sex offender and absolutely avoid jail time and get a mental diversion? Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. Then Mr. Michael Turnipseed will join us. The city wants to buy the Bank of America building. Just another super genius idea from Wile E. Coyote, a.k.a. our city manager, Christian Clegg. From now on, if you hear the name Wile E. Coyote, I'm alluding to our venerable city manager, who I don't think is going to be around here much longer. I really don't. We're going to buy the Bank of America building because we don't have money problems or anything. We don't need like $1 billion to fix our sewer system, do we? No. We're good. We're flush. Let's buy the Bank of America building. Okay. We'll talk to Mr. Turnipseed top of the hour. Our money man, Daniel Petrey, at 4:30. And I'll figure out when we're going to slide Lauren Skidmore in here. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. Don't go anywhere. What?
The Rio Bravo, how they shut down and shit?
Because of the guy's screwing his wife?
He fucking got arrested in March for punching her in the face.
Oh, yeah. I knew that.
What is this?
Totally.
Put all this money into this.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Adaptive Networks. Business owners, how many times have you called your IT company and felt like just another ticket number? Well, at Adaptive Networks, exceptional customer service isn't just the promise, it's how they do business every single day. And nobody knows that better than the folks here at American General Media, because they are a client of ours and we are a client of theirs. IT so I'm supposed to do this live? Incredibly important for a radio.
I was trying to get your attention right now, but you and Randy were talking.
Wow, sorry.
It's all good.
Nothing. So it's do or die for us. That's why we depend on Adaptive Networks. When you call, you'll actually talk to a real person who knows your name, understands your business, and genuinely cares about solving your problems. No phone trees, no run around, no ads. That's what Adaptive Networks are all about. Call today at 661-241-0638. That's 241-0638. Join the IT network that American General Media uses every day.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore, and every Viking voyage is all-inclusive with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Ow.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Get the GoodRx.com.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga. I do it to the club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented
because confusion with time or place is a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn more signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis, medical care, and withdrawal management.
My husband, I'm worried that my husband's going to hurt himself. And I need you, can you guys have your phone? Okay, why do you think he's trying to hurt himself? Because he said that to me. Okay, what did he say specifically?
Back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. Nothing to be. What you doing to me? Don't believe a word I'm saying. This is Skinny Elvis. We can't go on together into suspicious minds. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got? Who you got? Sean, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show. Good. What's going on?
Particular law enforcement shootings are a constant everyday occurrence in the city. You know, fleeing or resisting arrest creates a scene for excessive force. And the current administration office is just what it is. They're staunch law enforcement supporters. But it baffles me that without having even completed an investigation, she was already deemed a domestic terrorist. That's what really messed me up.
Yeah, I thought I said that.
If there's any lesson from this, just comply, like you said.
Bottom line. Bottom line. It never ends well when you do not cooperate with the police.
And clearly, even though she clicked, because there was, everyone saw the video of the, I guess, one of the protesters recording the officer that was clipped, and he's telling her, hey, put your camera down, and he walked away without any life-sustaining injuries, but still, the fact remains, hey, this could have been avoided, maybe, stop the car, or,
It's not on. All right, Sean, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. It's not on. There it is. Yeah, it wasn't on. The mic wasn't on because I saw them ask me to turn it up, and I turned it up, but the mic wasn't on. So now you guys can hear. I'm sorry about that. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Yeah, a lot of things, if, woulda, coulda. Again, we don't know what was in the mind of the officer. They're trained to get out of the way of cars, but they're also trained that if you feel like your life is in imminent danger, you have the ability to shoot. Could it have been avoided? Yes. But can you try to prosecute this man and say that he was wrong? A man who was dragged in a similar situation? Again, two things can be true. We can think complex. We can think beyond just linear thinking. That she did not try to hit him, but she was coming at him. And he did not shoot from the side initially. We know that because A, she was shot in the face. B, there is a clear bullet hole in the front windshield of the vehicle. And yes, if you see the third video, you clearly see him clipped. You all know I defended the woman yesterday and told Howard that's not true that he was clipped, because from the back angle you cannot see it, but from the front overhead shot you clearly see he was clipped in the left leg. It's irrefutable. Who else you got?
Nobody on the line, but we got a couple texts.
All right, what do you got?
Had that woman done as Ralph Sr. taught you, she would still be alive. Do what they tell you and ask questions later or file a complaint. And by the way, that Cuban guy, as you called him, will be the next VP. Just saying. Love your show.
No, I don't think so. Marco Rubio doesn't want, I don't think he wants to be vice president. You don't run for president and then accept a vice presidential spot. You know what I'm saying? Unless you lose to the nominee. And I think if it's Vance versus Rubio, Rubio wins the nomination. I think Vance has not served himself well as vice president. I don't think he served himself well today by categorically castigating the media. And let me take that back. He should have castigated the media. The media has handled this thing poorly. But if the Trump administration tries to villainize this woman as as J.D. Vance called her, deranged leftist, this is going to damage them, in my opinion. What else you got?
Vance and Rubio aren't going to be running against each other. They are going to be running together. A formidable ticket.
I don't think so. Nope, I don't think so. I think Marco Rubio wants to be president of the United States. We know that because he's run before. I don't think that J.D. Vance is going to win the nomination. I think the fact that Erica Kirk has already come out and endorsed him is going to hurt him. And I don't see it. I'm voting on Marco Rubio, or maybe even a third party. There might be even a third party. It's hard to predict presidential nominations this far in advance, no matter how it looks. A lot of things are going to happen before 2028. One more, and let's get Mr. Turnipseed in here.
JD has chimed in.
What's up, JD?
Said, great show, Ralph. An analogy that I use when it comes to Trump is that there's only one Trump and one Don Rickles. Anyone who tries to imitate either one is doomed.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's a good example, Tom Rickles. Only Rickles. In fact, I was watching Bill Maher's podcast, not his HBO show, but his podcast, and he had Tim Allen, or no, it was either Tim Allen or Charlie Sheen. And they were talking about Rickles. Oh, no, it was, my bad. It was John Stamos. It was John Stamos who, for some weird reason, had a close relationship with Rickles. And they were talking about how the greatest thing that happened to Don Rickles is when he was born. Because if Don Rickles was born in 1962, like me, he'd have never made it. His comedy maybe in the 80s and the 90s, but in the 21st century, if you ever saw Rickles act in Vegas, as I once did at the Sahara, it was much worse than it was on The Tonight Show or on roasts. I mean, he went after every racial group in the audience. He talked about women. He talked about fat people. And you can't imitate that. You just can't. And if Republicans try to imitate Donald Trump, it will be to their great chagrin. Heading into the 4 o'clock hour, Mike Turnipseed, and then Lauren Skidmore will join us as well.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Trump administration is firmly defending federal agents following the shooting death of a tourist in Minneapolis. White House correspondent Clugston reports.
Vice President Vance said the ICE officer was clearly justified in shooting the driver, and he described Renee Good as a victim of left-wing ideology.
I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making.
Vance also chastised reporters for their news coverage of the incident, saying that many were lying.
The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace.
Greg Clugston, the White House.
You might consider filing your taxes early this year, correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
Uh,
As the IRS faces challenges following a 26% reduction in its workforce and significant tax law challenges on the horizon, some analysts are warning that it could be a rocky year this year when filing your taxes. Experts routinely suggest that it's best to be an early bird if you can when it comes to filing your taxes. The IRS will start accepting tax returns for 2025 on January 26th. This filing season, the IRS must implement major provisions from President Donald Trump and the Congressional Republicans' tax plan, requiring the IRS to update tax forms, likely leading to more questions from taxpayers. The filing deadline is April 15th. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Denmark and Greenland's envoys to Washington have begun a vigorous effort to urge U.S. lawmakers as well as key Trump administration officials to step back from President Trump's call for a takeover of the strategic Arctic island.
So then I hit a
On Wall
really
Street,
nice
the Dow
dip,
by 270 points, the
straight down
NASDAQ
'cause I
dropped
was behind the
104.
green.
More at
And I hit a
townhall.com.
really nice flop, and it just kept.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Tonight, the lights went out on Rosedale. I'm Chris Davis. You may remember hearing about a proposed tax increase of $19 per year for some people who live along Rosedale in the Green Acres area to help keep their streetlights on. Well, the residents of that area voted overwhelmingly against paying that extra bread, and now 75 streetlights may have to be turned out. The County Board of Supervisors says only about 1 in 4 people who got a ballot actually returned it. The people in that area are already paying an annual $28 fee for the lights. As of now, former Kern County Supervisor Zach Scrivener will not be serving prison time for the sexual abuse of a young girl because he was granted a mental health diversion last month. His charges did not include sex crimes, but rather child abuse, making him eligible for that diversion. KGE2 reports that several lawmakers now, including state representatives, are calling for the state attorney general to explain why Scrivener was charged that way. You learned the name of a 6-year-old girl killed in a New Year's Eve wreck near Mojave on Highway 14 this morning. Now the Highway Patrol says in their documentation of that wreck that the drivers of 2 vehicles, including the one in which Zion Queen Romero was a passenger, were brake checking, speeding, passing, and overtaking in a violent manner. Romero was thrown out when the car rolled and was pronounced dead at the scene. No charges have been filed against either driver. If you've been waiting to use the Arvin Library branch, you can do that again early next week. It's supposed to reopen Tuesday with some renovations that were made possible by a grant of over $1 million from the Building Forward Library Infrastructure Grant from the California State Library. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Thursday, 8th day of January. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN, we're streaming live at KERNradio.com. After the break, Lauren Skidmore, Executive Director of the Open Door Network, is going to join us. She started a petition that's going to be sent to the Attorney General's office involving the Scrivener matter. But in the meantime, as those of you can see, those 525 subscribers on YouTube, Mike Turnipseed is live in studio. How are you, sir? Happy New Year. How was your Christmas?
Fine.
You're looking very
The
Christmassy.
grandkids were here for a week, Saturday to Saturday.
Yeah.
So I got to play with them and see them. They're just growing up fast.
Yeah, I
8,
bet.
6, and 3.
Wow, that's a good age, though. That's a great age. All three of those ages are
Well,
really
she's
good.
seen the 6-year-old. She was trying to break into the presents before time. So the elves came and took the presents away.
Yeah.
She goes, "Where are the presents?" Well, somebody tore in them, so they took them away. And there's a little note they left for her. Yeah, it's part of the game.
That's
It was
pretty
fun.
cool. That's pretty cool. Why is the city trying to buy the Bank of America?
I haven't talked to about it. I just read about it.
Does that make any sense to you? Given our financial situation?
And this is happening in San Francisco too. So maybe somebody read the Chronicle that a lot of the major buildings or office buildings that are now empty because of remote work and other
Right.
things are getting converted to apartments.
Is that what the city wants to do?
Don't know. I'm going to have a meeting with Mr. Craig. I have 2 meetings with Mr. Craig on
Clegg?
Monday. Clegg. Mr. Clegg. One's going to be just general issues. Then we're going to have a meeting with the sewer team about how to do it the right way.
Is he long for this job? I suspect not.
You know,
although the
a
city
manager, this town was used for 27
Decades.
years
Yeah.
were run by the city manager.
Yes.
Because we had a weak council. He did what he wanted.
He ran the city.
He ran the city for 27 years.
Yes, he did.
And that's part of why we have the problems we have today.
I concur. I
I
absolutely
mean,
concur.
the maintenance, deferred maintenance. And you sit down, and the last time I was talking to Clegg, it's billions.
Yeah.
They have an unfunded
1.4.
pension liability of $400 million. They have sewer liabilities of $600 million. That's $1 billion. They have 10 undeveloped parks plus the project they're taking on at MLK. MLK is old enough; it needs a makeover. It's kind of it needs to be done. But you add all of that, that's $200 million.
And don't forget about the hotel they purchased.
Yeah, well, that's I thought it was going to be all grant paid for. I don't know.
Is it?
Cap K wanted to partner for a grant, and I understood that was all paid for with a
Okay.
grant.
All right.
So that's not necessarily out of their budget, but I don't know all the details for that. But Cap K was the lead partner on that, and sometimes they were getting it, and they just need the city to sign on,
Yeah.
kind of a backer, quote unquote, even though they're a government agency too.
Yeah.
Cap K is set up by the federal government to pass out money for things.
Yeah.
They run daycare, they run all kinds of food banks, they do
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Mr. Tobias does a great
Yes.
job over there.
Well, as long as he keeps getting money.
Why doesn't Clegg meet with you before they make announcements like this?
Because Mr. Clegg doesn't work for me, he works for the council.
Yeah.
And some councilmen have an idea, and
You really think this was born out of the city council?
oh, I'm sure it's more of an Andre Gonzalez project.
Really?
It's downtown.
You think he cooked this up? Yeah, that sounds.
Somebody had to approach him. I mean, that building's been there a long time, and what's the vacancy rate downtown? I mean, there aren't that many business offices downtown. And whatever, so far, all the downtown buildings that have been business buildings that are vacant, the superintendent of schools has bought.
Right.
They took over the church. They took over the Chase building. They have the one that was built on K Street and 20th, the Ryder building. They've got 6 or 7 buildings downtown. They're real estate developers.
Yeah, no kidding.
And they got a printing press somewhere, so they can just kind of do what they want. You never hear them borrowing money, but either that or very good grant writers. And that's
Which
what
I
the city
doubt.
needs. Oh, no. I think they do a lot of things.
Yeah.
They do a lot of things, so they just know how to find it.
Okay.
No, I think they have probably the best grant writing team in the county by far. They get a lot of money by writing grants and for kids, but you just talk about superintendent of schools and everything. The idea that the latest thing I was reading this morning in particular, they're cutting because of what's going on in Minnesota and other places. Federal government's going to defund childcare. Like Cap K runs childcare programs.
Right.
Where do people drop off their kids when they're working? They need daycare. And that's why America First, whatever it was called, way back when, was organized to provide daycare for lower income working families so they can go to job, get to work, and be sustainable.
Yeah. All right. You're getting into the weeds now. Let's change the channel. The Scrivener situation has become a national story now. The Los Angeles Times picked it up today, and our interview with Donnie Youngblood is alluded to in the article. It also, settle down.
Ralph Bailey makes the Times.
I put it on Facebook. Damn right. It was, and Michael
Times before?
Yes, twice before.
Really?
Yeah. Once the deputy DA who was killed by Chris Hillis, Stephen.
Steve.
Starts with a T.
Towser.
Stephen Towser.
Yeah.
I was in there for that because I broke that story. I was at a barbecue.
3 times.
I was the one. The deputies told me that they connected Hillis to the murder because he perspired on the knife that he used. And
he perspired.
He did.
DNA.
And that's how they found. That's how they connected him.
DNA.
And do you know that I have a relationship with Chris Hillis? That I've run into him twice at Casey Steakhouse, and we've had discussions and we've talked. And he had this was years ago. I haven't seen him in a while, and I kept begging him to come on the show, and he said, "No, I can't do it."
No.
Very nice man, though. Very nice man. I'll tell this story much later if you guys aren't familiar with the Stephen Towser story. But what is your take? Lauren Skidmore is about to come in here and tell us about a petition she's putting together. Jasmine Baines is demanding paperwork from the AG's office. JR has made a public records request from the sheriff's office, which the sheriff tells us no one has asked for the body cam video of the day in Tehachapi, which could put Kathy Scrivener in a tough spot.
Investigative reporter.
Yeah. And this could put Kathy Scrivener in a tough spot because she now, ridiculously, in my opinion, came out and tried to refute the fact that she dissuaded her grandchildren. So she's essentially called the AG's office and the deputies liars. And I don't think that's going to sit well with a lot of people.
You've been saying that for a while, Ralph. We'll see.
Yeah. Where do you think
is she up for election this time or 2 years from now?
I think she's up in 26. I think she's up this year. And as I have stated, no Scrivener is ever going to get elected. Not anytime soon. Not anybody.
Does that mean the ante too?
Yes. I think Cynthia Zimmer does not run again. And if she does run again, I think somebody in her office will defeat her. I don't think she can bounce back from that. And for all intents and purposes, she did nothing wrong. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood full-throatedly has stated that the phone call was not illegal nor inappropriate. Now, I disagree with him on the inappropriate side, I think. But as he explained, it would have come back to him anyway. Doesn't matter.
Somebody was going to call eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you think this thing ends? Do you think that this become kind of an Epstein story? That's how the Post approached it. They literally had a picture of Zach and Epstein side by side. And it was Baines, I think, who planted this, who Baines said something like, if they can do it for Epstein, they can do it for Scrivener. Are we gonna see the paperwork from the AG's office?
State Attorney General versus Federal Attorney General. It's a difference.
Yeah.
Court orders maybe might force it, but we'll see.
It would be fascinating to find out how they came to
Not
this
as
conclusion.
fascinating as Epstein, though. It would be no. It would. I wouldn't call it fascinating. It would be probably
enlightening,
and probably turn your stomach.
Could anything be done in terms of, because he's got a hearing coming up in January, does he not, Mr. Scrivener?
There's something coming up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So could this can't change anything? He hasn't violated
I don't know
any of the,
but
as far as we know.
Can the state always appeal to?
Well, they did say we're going to weigh our options, no matter what that means. But they botched this thing from the get-go. Have you done some research on Joe Penny, the neophyte attorney they sent down here to square up with H.A. Sala?
Bakersfield. This is not Reiner. Now you see what happened to Reiner.
See, that's what I said. I said, I don't think H.A. Sala is on the radar of the AG's office. And Teresa Golder vehemently disagreed with me. She said, you've lost your mind. Sala is one of the finest attorneys in the state of California, and he is well on the map of H.A. Sala. And I think that's what they did. They sent down this rookie to take on Sala, knowing that Sala would eat him up. And why would they take charges that would specifically allow Zach to get mental diversion? And then Penny comes into court saying, we disagree. On what basis? What was the judge supposed to do? Say, I'm going to ignore Sala's forensic psychologist? Why didn't you come up with a forensic psychologist, Mr. Penny? And maybe I can make a decision, but I'm not going to go against the one doctor who's here testifying.
Who got paid well?
What are you talking about, Willis?
Pardon me?
What are you talking about?
Witnesses get paid. Witnesses just don't testify for nothing. So what the doctor, what's his fee to be an expert witness in court? So he got paid.
And you don't think that the Attorney General's office couldn't find one forensic psychologist in the state of California that would have refuted him?
I'm sure they could if you want to work that hard.
That's all I'm saying. So why didn't they? Because they didn't want Scrivener to go to jail. For whatever reason. I don't know what their motive is.
That reason, it's not like he's part of the Democratic in Sacramento.
I realize that. You think it's a coincidence that they charged him with this and then pounded their hands on the fists on the desk about how?
Wait, they had to charge him. Once, first of all, it went to Tulare and it went to Kings and other counties to take it. No,
and they denied. Yeah, they didn't want it.
So it went to the Attorney General.
And they didn't want it because they denied it the first time. It took them 2 tries to even take the case.
Well, somebody had to take it. That's kind of the last stop, because if no other county wanted to do it, why would they want to do it?
They didn't want to do it.
We don't want it in our
courts.
Why put a circus in our
they basically gave it a pass.
Yeah.
They really did.
Yep.
What's going to happen, Mike, at the end of the day?
Nothing.
I think you're right. I don't think they released those papers. I think JR has a chance to get that video, though. That body cam video of the day that it happened. And that could be telling, Jack. That could be telling.
They walked in the door and it's just like what happened Monday.
Yeah.
The video cam of what it is in angles, because in the Washington Post, they have some pretty confirming evidence that if the guy got kissed on his knee, maybe, but she had the wheels turned to the right to avoid him.
Cameras.
In the way.
He got hit, though, Michael. He got struck. Can't hit a law enforcement officer. I don't care if he meant to or not.
She'd already shot her. She was already dead.
What? When he was struck?
Yes. They shot her before the car even. She took off to start rolling. She was turning.
And she was coming at him when he shot. Why is the bullet through the windshield?
Did you see where the bullet came through the windshield?
Right through the front of the windshield. I gotta go, Mike. I gotta go, Mike. I gotta go, Mike. You can keep talking, but I gotta go. Mike Turnipseed. Quick timeout. Lauren Skidmore is next. I saw Lauren walk up in the mirror.
The picture shows.
Come on, Mike. Don't put me in that position. I know that, but don't put me in the position to have to fucking say, you're killing me.
Hey, well, you're using me to say that you can play that with other people, but if he.
Subscribers on YouTube. The lovely executive director of the Open Door Network, Lauren Skidmore, is with us, involving the Zach Scrivener case. JR tells me you have put together a petition. Tell us all about it.
I did. Last night I thought, you know what? I get so many people that are calling and inquiring, how can we do something? What can we do? We're outraged. We want to say something. And I keep telling people, you have to continue to push and you have to continue to speak up.
And it's gaining momentum.
And so, change.org, it's a platform to be able to, you can petition for anything. So essentially I put together a petition. It's asking for the Attorney General to push for an appeal for this decision for mental health diversion. It's been up for less than 24 hours and we've got 630 supporters. I think, as the week carries on, it'll gain steam.
Oh yeah. It'll be in the thousands.
I'm hoping, yeah.
It'll be in the thousands.
There's almost, if not a million residents here. I think we can easily get tens of thousands if it pushes far enough. But the people need to speak up, and
Yeah.
I think this is an outlet.
I've lived here almost as long as you've been alive. I've been here 32 years, and I have never seen an issue where there is a greater consensus in the community that something's going wrong. I'm just trying to steer them away from Kern County because this has got nothing to do with Kern County.
Agreed.
This has to do with the Attorney General's office, how they came to the decision that they did, how they sent a neophyte attorney down here to clash sabers with one of the finest attorneys in the state of California, how they didn't have a rebuttal forensic psychologist to refute H.A. Sala's hand-picked doctor is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I was there in the courtroom that day, and throughout this whole process, I have felt like there is really no information given to myself or Christina all along the process. It's like we walk into the courtroom and we have no idea what's going to happen. We have no idea if it's going to be pushed down another month, if it's going to be, put to jury trial. I mean, everything's been very hard to track and follow. And as a victim advocate, usually you can kind of understand, oh, this could happen, this could happen. I mean, but mental health diversion was not on the bingo card.
Yeah, and Christina being Zach's estranged wife.
Correct, and she's representing her children throughout this process as their, caretaker, and it's just been a really tough process to follow. And obviously, I'm intimately involved with the issue, but for me, what we are going to see is more perpetrators pursue a mental health diversion in sexual assault and domestic violence cases.
Have you read the LA Times story?
I have.
And how they made allusions to separate different cases. A doctor used the same thing.
Yep.
And that's what I told my listeners. I said, H.A. Sala didn't create this lane. Correct. This thing has been being used, and legal officials will tell you it's being used much more often now. Much more often.
And if you sat in the courtroom, there is a checklist per se that the judge utilizes to identify whether or not you qualify. And the purpose of the diversion really is to give folks a chance at regaining, normalcy in their life, finding the help they need, and they shouldn't go to jail because that's not going to serve them well. And the court case that's really interesting that Sala used as his backup was related to a woman out of the Bay Area who robbed a store for the first time, and mental health diversion was utilized for her. And it was because she had PTSD from childhood trauma of sexual assault as when she was a child. And that makes sense to me. If this is a one-time thing where you're robbing a store, you're not physically harming anyone, you're not assaulting a family member or somebody that's underage, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Give them a second chance. They made a mistake. Let them pursue treatment and then try to do right. But in a sexual assault case, in a domestic violence case where you are hurting somebody that's intimately close to you, I think that there needs to be a due process, and that is not happening in this situation.
And Zach did nothing right. Let's face it. He did nothing right. He quit his job to avoid supporting his family. He hasn't supported his family.
He has not paid child support.
No child support. I mean, he's just handled this extremely badly, and then almost flaunted it in this community's face by knowing that the media was going to follow him out to Cal State, where he's taking graduate level classes for a guy who supposedly needs a mental health diversion.
Right.
It's crazy.
The day that the crime was committed, he was voting on behalf of the people at a Board of Supervisors meeting.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And as we found out, as we talked about earlier, he got on the phone with Donnie Youngblood that day and was savvy enough to ask for a pass from Donnie. And that doesn't sound like a guy who's suffering from mental depression and all this nonsense to me.
Yeah, and I've had folks ask me, well, and I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychiatrist. I've handled lots of clients through, especially the homeless world. And anytime you have a victim, there's going to be anxiety and depression. This is not an individual that is showing significant life-altering changes because of depression and anxiety. These are choices that he made.
Right.
He made the choice to become an alcoholic. He made the choice to use substances, and the rap sheet that was listed by the attorney in the courtroom was pretty extensive.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not an addict that's just popping one type of substance. There was multiple. And for him to now, what I think bothers me the most is now that he is pursuing a life and saying, it is my word versus my children. That shows that he's not even not
connected.
Connected.
No.
He's not even ethical. He's not even thinking in terms of his family as a unit. And it's really disheartening.
Yeah.
And so the petition, this is the only thing that I think we can do to try to gain enough esteem.
How can folks sign it?
It's on your website. It's on KARN. It's on the Facebook, KARN Facebook. You can just Google change.org Scrivener and it should pop up.
Change.org Scrivener.
And it should pop up.
All right. Good work. Good work.
Thank you.
And I'll sign during the break.
Perfect.
I absolutely will. Perfect. Always good to see you. Appreciate you taking the time. Lauren Skidmore, Executive Director, Open Door Network. Sweet.
Quick and easy.
It's on our website.
I know it's on Facebook, and I think JR said they're going to pop it on the website.
Sweet. Cool. Say hello to Eileen Perez for me.
I will.
Did you see that? They had her on this morning.
Oh, they did.
And they had Eileen Perez.
Oh, did they?
And I was like, Eileen Perez? And I was like, oh, because I panicked. I'm sitting there laying in bed watching it, and I'm like, oh my God, I called her Para.
No, you were right.
And I was like, oh God.
Oh, we'll talk all day. We'll go at each other all day. You kidding me?
For that?
We'll talk
For
all
5
day.
minutes, you kicked it off?
Yeah. Let's talk to Mike.
Make her regular. Why don't you make her regular?
He's bitching because you took some of his time, Lauren.
All right, girl, let's keep that
You
going.
didn't call me and tell me, so anyway.
On change.org online. But the gift law, so Sydney could pay for his attorney fees, but it's considered a gift, so he would have to provide his Form 700.
Who's paying for Salah?
So that might be the only way we
claiming
can
no money?
No. The aunt paid for it.
Well, we want to know.
You ready for so?
Thank you all for all the help that you provided, giving us an excellent direction of how best to satisfy our
Hey, JR, is it on our site?
Not yet. Our Facebook, though.
Our Facebook?
On the Facebook, I'm going to get it on the website.
Okay. It's a Thursday. Time to head to 21st and Oak, the offices of Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors. And our man, Daniel Petrey. How are you, Mr. Petrey? What, were you up late last evening? How were your holidays? Yeah. Tell me about it. I like my routine. I really do. And the holidays completely throw that routine right out the window. Right out the window. But I did enjoy seeing my nephew turn 20. He turned 20. Can you believe that? Although he did break my heart. He broke my heart. I took him to Tommy's, which in my opinion is the greatest burger in the country. And we were walking in the parking lot, getting in the Uber. And I said, so what'd you think? And he said, I think we should have gone to In-N-Out. Just, it sucked, like kids do. But yeah. I think In-N-Out is overrated. I really do. I mean, it's a good burger. Anytime I play Sundale and I'm on my way home, I stop by because it's on a Sunday and we get done around 10:30 and they open at like 10. So I can be in and out in like 15 minutes, which is miraculous. Because if you go after 11:30, it's a half hour easy. And don't get in the drive-through. Good googly boogly. That's a good half hour. It's crazy. We were just talking about this with Chris. Did you see the opening? She's moved. The girl who inherited it, the young woman who inherited it, moved her the base out of California. No surprise. I think to Tennessee, and they did an opening, one of the few openings on the East Coast, and people were lining up the night before for a hamburger. Yeah. Yeah. I've never heard anything like it. I really haven't. That's big in Chicago. I don't know what some of the big chains are back east. I haven't been back east in a while. I used to know. I know Hardee's is big in the South. Hurry on down to Hardee's, where the burgers are charcoal broil. It's essentially Carl's Jr. Oh, it went off again. Oh, I think it died. No, it turned back on. Oh, no. It won't come on. Do you mind? I'm sorry. We're having trouble with our microphones for YouTube. And we're trying to change that. I'm sorry. Please stand by. So will they still be able to hear me? All right. Please stand by. So Daniel, tell us what's going on these days.
Grab center stage.
Yeah, no kidding. No
if
kidding.
It's not geopolitical. It's home.
Thank you, Lisa. Our traffic staff, Lisa, was the one that hooked us up. She listens to the show on YouTube over in the office.
Oh, very good. Very good.
So you guys can hear now? They can hear. They wanted to hear you, Daniel. That's what caused all this ruckus. They can hear me, but they could not hear you.
Uh-oh.
But now they can.
Well, you just lost a few listeners, I'm sure.
So what is going on with our economy? I haven't been paying attention to financial news these days with all what's going on, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah, it's been all over the map. Although, some of the things we talked about, I think one of the last conversations we had is you were pretty positive. And I don't want to sound so negative that I do think there are some things like the big beautiful bill and some of the things that'll kick in that will help.
Yeah.
But I also think, and some of those things will help lift the stock market, which I think still has some good times ahead. But down the road, I am still very worried, and even more so politically, I think it'll really hurt the midterms if the timing's bad. But
yeah,
but who knows? Things can change in this day and age. By the time I get home, we could have an event that changes things greatly. So.
And did you hear the president? I was surprised to hear him concede that if we lose the midterms, we are in big doo-doo.
Yeah.
He said they're going to impeach me.
Yep, I heard that.
They're going to get rid of the filibuster.
Ooh.
And if they get rid of the filibuster, Daniel, I think the very first thing they're going to do, I don't know which one's first. I don't know whether they're going to try to make Puerto Rico and D.C. a state first, or whether they're going to try to make 15 Supreme Court justices.
Supreme Court, yeah.
I think that's
exactly where I was going.
Yeah, I think that's the first move.
And I think they will, and I think they're very much motivated by being able to see what Trump has done just because Trump wants to do it.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we should have been doing this years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Because and what baffles me about this administration is their absolute concentration on foreign policy. They're talking about Greenland, Venezuela, Ukraine, and yet really no discussion or any type of legislation being placed on the floor about the economy.
Yeah.
It seems as if they're almost ignoring it.
Yeah, well, they get accused of pulling the same thing Biden did. Don't believe what you feel.
Exactly.
It's better, and it is odd with the foreign policy stuff because he seems to be a very motivated foreign policy guy now. When that it really wasn't his. He was almost let's make America great again, and
right.
worry about foreign policy later.
Right. And
I'm not saying the two can't go together because I do think there are some benefits to what he's trying to do, but
seen
it's hard to control what. I mean, we have not had much success with regime change or trying to. Although Venezuela is a lot different than the Middle East.
Yeah, and I think we've already reaped some benefits. The New York Times is reporting that the Celia, what is her name? The vice president? Please stand by. I had her name down here somewhere. Celia Rodriguez has released political prisoners.
Oh, good.
So that's something better. But there are also reports.
Venezuela has been familiar with freedom and capitalism, and I think they can return to that if they just have the right people in place.
Yeah, not lately. Not anytime soon. Not in the last 20, 25 years.
No, Maduro and the guy before.
And Chavez, Hugo Chavez.
Messed all that up, but
and the regime is essentially still in place. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's what scares me. And then I worry, well, why won't somebody else want to form a coup and take over and get what the others had,
And there are reports that it's become a bit more repressive since Maduro has been taken. But I don't think anybody's crying any tears over Maduro being removed.
No.
And the hypocrisy among the Democrats to go back 2-3 years and hear them calling for Maduro's departure and Biden putting a $25 million bounty on his head, and there's audio of Chuck Schumer saying he's got to go, and now they're saying, what? What have they done? It's like, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, how could you actually do that?
Yeah. Running late, how we doing? Is silver still just blowing it out the roof?
Wow. Silver has been very volatile, and I know we've had some time off, so it's been, I think, 2 weeks since I calculated it, but when I looked before the show started, it was sitting right around 76.50.
Wow. So it hasn't really dropped.
71.75.
I was going to say.
Ago.
Yeah.
However, it hit a high, I think, Ralph, of 84 a week or so ago. It has been very volatile between around 80 and 75.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it has been going bonkers up there.
Because I can remember when we were in the 30s.
44.70. So
gold is,
yeah.
Yeah, because
That's
I can
about
remember
what it was $10 lower than 2 weeks ago, but
I can remember when silver was in the 30s.
oh yeah, 20s. Heck, you could get it for $2 far enough back. It moves. Silver is much more thinly traded than gold, and tends to. It kind of joins the bull late and really moves once it does.
Yeah.
And
still no rhyme or reason?
No, it just follows gold. Gold's the driver in that sector. It's just a more thinly traded market, and I still think, and as far as Wall Street's concerned, that those are underinvested areas, even though they've moved so much, and there's still room to run there.
Yeah.
And the debt is, I mean, we're over 38 trillion, 500 billion. I mean, we just keep going up and up.
Yeah, I'm almost to the point where I'm like, Daniel, don't even tell us.
Well, I don't want to be depressing, but it is important. I mean, I think we'll hit 40 this year.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
No question. Because what are we? We're way above that 29 billion jump, right?
Yeah. Well, I haven't been able to, since we've been gone Thursday, I haven't been able to check week to week, but we have gone up about the regular over the 2 weeks. So we'll see. I'll keep tracking it, not to be depressing, but just because it's important and nobody seems to care. And as much as Trump is doing around the world, and as much as a lot of that, well, they're going to pay for it themselves or do it this way, that's still expensive.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we get some spikes or what happens there. But
are prices coming down at all?
Oil has been a pretty volatile since the Venezuela thing, but it hasn't moved up substantially. And the market has been held up. I mean, you would expect a little more volatility there, but we've been doing fine. Futures are slightly up overnight, so that's green is always good. So
okay, very good.
Yeah, I as with everything going on in the world, it's kind of optimistic, because believe it or not, for the haves. For those that have money and are participated in the economy and have assets, I think they're going to continue to do well. For those people that are struggling and live paycheck to paycheck, they'll continue to feel as if they are out of the loop. So it's kind of a weird. And I think that creates a lot of different cross currents as to how people feel about the country as well.
Then why did we spend so much money on Christmas? Consumer spending over Christmas was crazy.
I think people, well, the haves have it. You know, if you have assets, you've been doing very well.
And the have-nots just put it on a credit card?
Others wanted to spend to forget about how bad it is.
And just slap it on your credit card and deal with it in late 26?
Later.
Yeah. That's a horrible way to live a life. It really is.
Well, yeah, because sooner or later
it all catches up. Yep,
yeah.
It all catches up.
That's sad. Life has a way of delivering that bad news, especially when you least expect it.
That's why I have no credit cards. None. Just won't do it.
And
all my friends tell me.
Financial advisor.
All my friends tell me I'm an idiot. That I could pay for my vacations and then just pay it off and move out. Nope. I may be broke, but I ain't in debt.
Good for you.
Tell you that, Jack.
Good for you.
And I got a few shekels over at Messmaker and Peachy Wealth Advisors.
That's right.
Doggone Skippy. Always good to talk to you, sir. Have a wonderful weekend.
Always good to be seen on the radio. Have a great weekend.
You too.
I'm sorry I couldn't get lunch or dinner over the break. It was just crazy.
I hear you. I was gone for 4 days. Next week.
Okay.
Next week. Seriously.
All
right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Daniel Petrey. Quick time out. We're coming right back. Check the board. See what you all are talking about. We'll get into the 5. We got a murder mystery out of Columbus, Ohio. Tell you all about. Ty Simpson, Alabama coach, Alabama quarterback, has announced that he will be in the NFL draft, which could complicate things. There are now 3 viable quarterbacks with about 7 or 8 teams that are looking for quarterbacks. We'll delve into that. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM.
You want to do KC?
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, we got NFL picks, playoff edition. We got the latest on the Warner Brothers deal and the Ellisons and all that. That's heating up quite a little bit. We've got news, we've got traffic, we've got weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Casey Steakhouse opening their doors yet again after a little holiday break. And where would you rather be than on F Street enjoying? I do believe the Christmas gear is still up. Do not quote me, but it is a great opportunity to get in and have one of the best meals you'll have. And of course, Tuesday through Saturday, Jimmy and Bobby are providing live music. And again, I always try to remind you guys to get next door at the Stockyard. It is a speakeasy-like bar that's been an absolute game changer. If you've got meetings, if you've got election parties, if you've got other events that you want to have a nice banquet room to hold it in, the next door, the speakeasy bar, the Stockyard is the place to be. And you could have dinner in there as well, have one of their craft cocktails, and enjoy live music Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights. Where would you rather be than at KC Steakhouse under the tutelage of Cassie Biddle's incredible staff? KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Between all the holiday parties,
weekend tailgates,
and family get-togethers,
we've been overindulging a little more than usual over the holidays. But now, we are starting the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day.
Active Liver contains a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, all natural ingredients that help protect the liver so that it can protect you from toxins. It's like giving my body a daily detox. I've never felt better, and my energy is through the roof.
And my doctor is already impressed with how much better my numbers are looking. So if better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or pick some up today at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, are now available at Wegmans. New year, new you, New Nordic.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Soon it will be Christmas Day. It's a weird choice on January 8th.
Yeah, I'm having computer issues, so it's a quick choice at the moment.
Oh, we're having technical difficulties? I'm not gonna say it. Hey, I'm wearing phones don't wear. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Didn't our engineer just drive up? Did I see Ray?
Yes, Ray is in the building.
Is Ray in the building? Where's Ray? Ray! Get Ray in here.
I don't know if he's going to walk over.
I love me some Ray, our former engineer who works for our current engineer is here. I got some great Ray stories. My KC Steakhouse Ray story. Have I ever told you that one?
I don't know if you have.
I'll tell you during the break. Please stand by. Communicating with Robert Mangler. 842-5376. 842-KER. What do you got?
I got nothing. I got no text messages for you at the moment.
Oh, because we're down.
Technical difficulties, yes.
Well, that sucks.
You got people behind you in the chat. I'm trying to get to the YouTube right now to see if I can pull some of those possibly.
Yeah. Getting everything nice and clear. Yes, all good. Dang, Ralph, just when it was getting good, you cut off the mic.
They could barely hear you.
People included what they want to see, not defending child care, changing the way of behavior. That's really, no, it's not really anything good in the chat room either. 842-5376, 842-KERN, our two top stories today. We've been talking about Vice President Vance, who went into the press office and basically defended the man has been identified as Jonathan Ross, the shooter in the ICE agent situation in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And there was one bite we haven't played from the, can we play? Well, let me make sure. Can we play bites? We can play bites. All right. Here's one that I had not played. We played a couple earlier. This was the vice president talking about the situation in Minneapolis.
That she accelerated in a way where she ran into the guy. I don't know what was in her heart and what was in her head, but I know that she violated the law, and I know that officer was acting in self-defense. It raises an interesting point, though. Look, if people want to say that we should have a legitimate debate about, what was she really doing, right? Was she panicking when she drove into this officer, or was she actually trying to ram him? That's a reasonable conversation. What's not reasonable is for so many of you to plaster all over the media that this was an innocent woman and that the ICE agent committed murder, which is what many of you have said explicitly and some of you have said implicitly. That's what I have an objection to. The idea that this was not justified is absurd, and I think everybody knows it in their heart.
That was the most cogent thing he said all day. If you listen to the other said audio, and we don't have time to play it right now, but the vilifying of this woman is not going to work. The vice president began by calling her a deranged leftist. That's not going to work. When people begin to see the pictures of this woman, she was a young woman at 37 years old. She was an attractive mother who on that very day, hours before she was murdered, had just dropped off her 6-year-old child at school. If this administration tries to vilify her and try to say that she intentionally tried to run that man over, the Republican Party is dead, because we definitely will lose the midterms. I don't think, well, I don't want to say most reasonable people, because I know reasonable people, and they do believe that she was trying to run him over. I just don't buy that. I don't think this woman woke up that morning and dropped her kids off and said, I'm going to go disrupt this ICE situation, which she did, and I think she wanted to. But I don't think in her plan was, and I'm going to take one of the ICE agents out. I'm going to run one of these sons of bitches over. That's what I'm going to do. I think she was asked to get out of a car. She refused. She heard them pulling on her car door, and she pulled away. And I think one thing that the media has pointed out is the pointing of her wheels. It was clear she was going to try to turn away. But the fact of the matter is, you hit a law enforcement agent, whether you intended to or not. And it is irresponsible, if not stupid, for us to get in the head of Jonathan Ross and say what? That he wanted to kill this woman? That this was his day? That he thought, you know what? I'm going to shoot somebody today. He saw a car coming at him. He saw a car hit him, not once, but for the second time now. He saw a fellow agent, the very same situation that he was in months ago, where he put his hand in the car door, they rolled up the window, and he got dragged the length of a football field and had to get 33 stitches in his leg. That's the thing that I don't like and is irresponsible. Trying to get inside this man's head and determine that he wanted to kill this woman. Quick timeout, final hour of the broadcast. I would stick around if I you.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News is Trump's comments about the U.S. acquiring Greenland.
What does the president want? Greenland is really important, not just to America's missile defense, but to the missile defense. Number two, we know that there are hostile adversaries that have shown a lot of interest in that particular territory, that particular slice of the world. So what we're asking our Europeans to do is to take the security of that landmass more seriously, because if they're not, the United States is going to have to do something about it.
Some Republican lawmakers worry the threat of an invasion of Greenland, which most shrug off as bluster, will hurt relations with. President Trump is lashing out at Republicans to advance war powers legislation. White House correspondent Greg Clunston reports.
The Senate approved moving forward with a resolution that would block the president from further military action in Venezuela without approval from Congress. It passed with the help of 5 GOP senators. Donald Trump was angered by the vote, posting online that the Republicans should be ashamed and should never be elected to office. He blasted the measure as unconstitutional. Greg Clugston, the White House.
The House has passed legislation that extends expired health care subsidies for those who get coverage through the Affordable Care Act. It's a rebuke of House Speaker Mike Johnson, who tried to stop it, but renegade Republican lawmakers joined with Democrats on a so-called discharge petition to force action. The health care tax have lowered health insurance costs for roughly 22 million people, but expired last month. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 270 points. The Nasdaq dropped 104. The S&P up a fraction. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The night on Rosedale. I'm Chris Davis. You may remember hearing about a proposed tax increase of $19 per year for some people who live along Rosedale in the Green Acres area to help keep their street lights on. Well, the residents of that area voted overwhelmingly that extra bread, and now 75 streetlights may have to be turned out. The County Board of Supervisors says only about 1 in 4 people who got a ballot actually returned it. The people in that area are already paying an annual $28 fee for the lights. As of now, former Kern County Supervisor Zach Scrivener will not be serving prison time for the sexual abuse of a young girl because he was granted a mental health diversion last month. His charges did not include sex crimes, but rather child abuse, making him eligible for that diversion. KGET reports that several lawmakers now, including state representatives, are calling for the state attorney general to explain why Scrivener was charged that way. You learned the name of a 6-year-old girl killed in a New Year's Eve wreck near Mojave on Highway 14 this morning. Now the Highway Patrol says in their documentation of that wreck that the drivers of 2 vehicles, including the one in which Zion Queen Romero was a passenger, were brake checking, speeding, passing, and overtaking in a violent manner. Romero was thrown out when the car rolled and was...
Never mind, I lied. I got it back.
Filed against either driver. If you've been waiting to use the Arvin Library branch, you can do that again early next week. It's supposed to reopen Tuesday with some renovations that were made possible by a grant of over $1 million from the Building Forward Library Infrastructure Grant from the California State Library. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Thursday, 8th day of December. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. See the things you learn by watching the show as opposed to listening to it? Doing the final hour, I've got a Venezuelan story I'm going to tell you all about in just a second. We got a murder mystery in Columbus, Ohio, where a dentist and his wife were shot to death in their home. Their 4 and 1-year-old were left unscathed. And cops don't have a clue right now. They have a person of interest that were caught on Ring cameras, seen right around the time of the murder, and some bizarre 911 calls that were reportedly from the house, but was not the voice of the wife, according to the family. But again, you know the theme of the Ralph Bailey Show. My nose is killing me. Can't get away with murder in the 21st century. Can't do it. Can't do it. Meantime, let me get to this Venezuelan story. This is out of the New York Times, written by Emma Bubola. Venezuela's government began to release political prisoners from 2 notorious prisons on Thursday in the first gesture of change by the new administration since the United States captured President Nicolas Maduro on Sunday. Jorge Rodriguez, the head of Venezuela's National Assembly, did not specify how many people would be freed, but said it would be, quote, an important number, and that they would be both Venezuelans and foreign nationals. Quote, consider this gesture from the Bolivarian, how do you pronounce this? Bolivarian? Bolivarian. Bolivarian.
Bolivarian, yeah.
Bolivarian. It's where Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid died. Bolivia. Consider the gesture from the Bolivian government made with sincere intentions toward peace as the contributions we all must make so that our republic can continue living peacefully and striving for prosperity, said Mr. Rodriguez, who's also the brother of Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez. Among the first prisoners confirmed to be released was Rocio San Miguel, one of Venezuela's most prominent security experts, who had dared investigate her country's authoritarian government until she was detained in February of 2024. So something good has come out of this already. Ms. San Miguel, who is dual Venezuelan Spanish citizen, appeared to be one of 5 Spanish citizens released on Thursday, according to the Spanish government. The government did not release the citizens' names, but Ms. San Miguel's relative confirmed her release. Prisoners' rights groups estimate that between 800 and 900 political prisoners are incarcerated in Venezuela, and they say the most are charged with crimes such as incitement of hate, conspiring to overthrow the government, or terrorism for simply exercising basic political rights. Meaning, Maduro threw him in jail because he felt like it. Because they were somehow balking what he thought, and he threw him in jail. Bolivar was the quote from Liberator of South America. Okay, thank you, Lump. The great liberator, Simon Bolivar, I believe was his first name. Is that right, Lumpy? Was his first name Simon? Or am I just making that up? 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got?
Checks are back. So Monday school board meeting is going to be very interesting.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I feel for Miss Scrivener because there's going to be a large number of community members who are going to stand there and ask for her resignation. I think that is safe to say. And, like I said, I think it was a gargantuan mistake for her to respond to Channel 17, because now she is in a position where she has openly accused the deputies who reported this to the AG's office. She's essentially calling them liars. And she's essentially calling the state a liar, because Joe Penny, the neophyte attorney they sent down here to bumble the case, alluded to that in court. And as an officer of the court, I doubt that he would have said that without concrete evidence. I really do. So you're right. It is going to be fascinating. It's going to be packed. And there's going to be a long line of people that are going to want to address the board. And I can tell you what's going to happen. At some point, I don't know who the chair, I think it's, no, I don't know who the chair is. But at some point, the chair is going to say, that's enough. That's enough. They'll cut off the discussion on Kathy Scrivener. I guarantee it. Because it'll be mostly about, because they don't, what are the big issues that they're dealing with now? It's not parental rights. They've given up on that. It was something they were discussing last month before we went on vacation. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I don't envy Miss Scrivener. And I wouldn't be shocked if she did not appear. That'd probably be the smart play, actually. But we'll see what happens. What else you got?
If ICE wasn't doing unnecessary door-to-door raids in Minneapolis, this never would have happened had they stuck to their promise of, quote, just going after the worst of the worst, end quote, and not doing unnecessary raids. We wouldn't be here.
Why is it on law enforcement? Can't you say the same thing about Renee Good? Had she not blocked the road, we wouldn't be here. Had she not driven away from law enforcement officials, we wouldn't be here. Haven't we all been raised? How did we get away from how we were raised? To do exactly what law enforcement tells you to do. Where did we get away from that? Has the division in politics created a different morality and just caused many of you to walk away from how you were raised? Because I'm assuming most of you were raised decently. And if you were raised decently, you had one or two parents who told you that if the cops stop you, you say, yes, sir, no, ma'am. And we deal with it later. Even if you're wronged, we'll deal with it in court. We'll get H.A. Salad. We'll get somebody, and that'll represent you. But don't try to hold court on a curb on California Avenue at some stop or some confrontation with a police officer. So as easily as you can say, well, if they didn't do this, they wouldn't be there, boop, 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 I can absolutely say, had she just dropped off her kids and gone about her own day, as opposed to harassing ICE agents, this wouldn't have happened either. Had she just stepped out of the car, when we hear clearly in the video, the officer telling her, get out of the car, get out of the effing car. Twice he says that. Had she merely said, what is it, officer, and stepped out of the car, we wouldn't be here, would we? So don't give me these what ifs and couldas and shouldas. And she dropped her keys after she had dropped off her child at work. Circumstances would be different. Had she not made the light that got her there, the green light that she went through a couple of blocks before she got there, had that light turned green, destiny might have been different. We can do this all afternoon if you want to. That's ridiculous. One more. Let's take a break.
The next one was, we wouldn't be here or having this conversation if the borders hadn't been left open for 4 years and Tim Walz was a good governor.
You see what I'm saying? We can go down this rabbit hole all you want. We can go down this rabbit hole all you want. We could say we wouldn't be here if Democrats didn't gin this thing up. If the mayor of Minneapolis wouldn't say things like, get the F out of Minnesota. Did you see Jimmy Kimmel last night? I certainly didn't, and very few of you did, and I'm talking about in the nation. But apparently, he had some T-shirt that said, Donald Trump is trying to kill you. And I forget what the other one said, something about, I think it was get the F out of Minnesota. And these guys at ABC scratched their head. Ray! Did he just walk away from me? You know, come back. Give me, I want to talk to Ray. I don't care about you.
Wow.
I see Rusty all the time.
I'll just turn the station off real quick.
I haven't seen Ray in months.
We're having transmitter technical difficulties during the Ralph Bailey show.
There's a
Go ahead and
shock.
Turn this off.
There's a shock. Our engineering is so confident. That's Rusty, our engineer. But I see your ugly mug all the time. I haven't seen Ray in months. Just wanted to say hi to Ray. Huh?
He said he'll be here in a second.
All right, very good. Let's go ahead and take a break. Yeah, you can go down that rabbit hole all you want. What if, would have, it shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's very, very sad. It's a very, very sad situation. A 6-year-old is an orphan. He lost his dad 2 years ago, and now his mom. It really is a tragedy. And like I said, I believe the officer could have stepped aside. But at the same time, I'm not going to for a minute try to get inside that man's head and be able to declare that he wasn't scared out of his wits, that he was going to die at the hands of a Honda Pilot or whatever the hell car she was driving. Nobody knows what went on in that man's head except Jonathan Ross. And how people can so quickly blame the agents as opposed to having the woman stand up and accept the responsibility of, you shouldn't have been there. Plain and simple. You should not have been parked perpendicular to the street blocking traffic. And you should have got out of the car when the ICE agent said, get out of the vehicle. It's really that simple. Quick time out. We're coming right back. It's TRBS on a Thursday night on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Messmaker. Travis Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the absolute latest in the ongoing chaos in Minneapolis as ICE is confronted by so many crazy left-wing protesters. Plus, Brianna Lyman will join us. It's an interesting 250th anniversary, and we're going to spend some time on a lot of these. We will discuss all that and more Friday edition. You won't want to miss it. Come hang.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you were with us about 50 minutes ago when Daniel Petrey of Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors made his weekly appearance on the broadcast. He joins us every Thursday at 4:30, talking about the economy, where silver and gold is, where the deficit lies, and most importantly, how all the politics inside the Beltway impact you and your wallet. And of course, you know what Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. If it's staring you in the bug, pick up the phone today and call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400. Or just be sure to tune in every Thursday at 4:30 when he joins us live via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network. Daniel Petrey and the folks at Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrey or MPWA DBA Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
And we're back. Another
Yes, we're
commercial
back.
for California Fruit Depot.
Cal Fruit Depot.
First, it needs to be said that a lot of listeners are complaining that you're not pulling your own weight on these commercials.
Wait, this is a 1-minute podcast. I'll lead with that. Now back to you.
If you're wearing a jacket and you're hearing this commercial, come on out to California Fruit Depot. Come on out and see us.
Not Christmas.
Oranges.
It's a jacket special.
Dates, shakes, smoothies, all those things. They're available.
What
Come
else
on out.
do
You
you
can
have out
ship them to family and friends all over the country.
Shipping available.
Another thing I like to talk about is getting a jingle.
please.
We need a jingle.
We do need a
all
jingle.
musicians, bands. Hey, if you got AI capabilities, send us an AI commercial.
Submit it.
For California Fruit Depot. Has to be radio friendly.
Ooh, California Fruit Depot.
Got your citrus. Got your nuts.
Come get some dates. Come get your dates.
Send your jingle to citrusjinglecontest@gmail.com and come out to California Fruit Depot. Google us for directions, or you can visit us online at calfruitdepot.com.
Hey, I made the commercial.
Cats are masters at using up their 9 lives, like chasing laser pointers into walls or jumping onto high shelves. But the one thing cats never do, text while driving. So be like a cat and protect your one and only life. Don't text and drive.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
We got breaking news out of the New York Post, Dateline Minneapolis. Renee Nicole Good, the mom who was killed by a federal agent after veering her car toward him, was an anti-ICE warrior and was part of a group of activists who worked to, quote, document and resist the federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota, the Post can reveal. Good, who moved to the city last year, linked up with the anti-ICE activists through her 6-year-old son's woke charter school, which boasts that it puts, quote, social justice first. That's a good thing. Let's put social justice ahead of education and prioritize, quote, involving kids in political and social activism. Quote, she was a warrior. She died doing what was right. A mother named Lisa, whose child attends the same school, told the Post at a growing vigil where Good was killed Wednesday. I knew she was doing the right thing. I watched the video plenty of times, but I also know in my heart the woman she was. She was doing everything right. Good and her wife, Rebecca, 40, were raising the boy together in the mostly working class, activist-heavy neighborhood of South Minneapolis, which features tree-lined streets and a large number of homes with windows decked out in LGBTQ plus flags or signs depicting George Floyd. Just as many others did in the lefty enclave, God sent her son to Southside Family Charter School, a K-5 academy opened in 1972, which has, from its inception, been, quote, unabashedly dedicated to social justice education. It was through her involvement in the school community that Good became involved in, quote, ICE Watch, a loose coalition of activists dedicated to disrupting ICE raids in the sanctuary city. There you have it. There you have it. So before you say, well, if they hadn't done that and they hadn't done this, if she wasn't part of a group that was specifically aimed and targeted at disrupting the work of ICE agents, this wouldn't have happened. And you can even go back further than that and say, if Democrats didn't gin this thing up and absolutely give rise to this through their own rhetoric, this would have never happened. But now it's almost, chic to go out and protest against ICE agents. We saw in Los Angeles people throwing bricks through car windows. They were protesting today in Minneapolis, blocking cars, lying down in the streets. One lady had a sign that said cowardice, and you spell cowardice D-I-C-E at the end. And so obviously she had the I-C-E in capital letters to make her point. And she just sat in the middle of the street with a sign that said cowardice with the ICE in large letters. Since when did we vilify law enforcement? You think these guys want to be doing what they're doing? But this is their job. I don't like the way we've gone about this. I think the Trump administration is making a big mistake. They were going door to door. I think they're making a gargantuan mistake. But it is what it is. And you've got to obey the law. Somewhere I read. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What else you got?
Vance has over $1 billion in line for his presidential campaign. They will fall in line behind him.
So did Kamala Harris. She had 3 months. She raised $1 billion. Didn't help her. J.D. Vance is not going to be the president in 2029. Not in my opinion. It's way too early to speculate. It's almost impossible. But my money's on Marco Rubio. He's sober. He doesn't get angry. He's calm. He's ran before. He has experience. It's a whole nother thing to run for Senate. And it's a whole nother thing to be on the coattails of somebody else's ticket. But it's a whole nother spotlight to run your own campaign and get out there, particularly if he's trying to emulate President Trump. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Who you got?
Heather is on the line.
Heather, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hey, Ralph, how are you?
I'm good. What's happening?
I just want to applaud the gal that came on that did the change.org petition. Definitely find it. I hope everybody else does as well. You know, I want to bring a few points in.
What do you got?
Zach in his early 20s was convicted of selling cannabis.
Right, in college.
And what, in 2016 at some point, there's a news clip or some video, or dispensary has a video of him at a raid in Roseman, and there was allegations of him tampering with evidence, and now there's this. To say that, his aunt and his mom aren't involved is, there's just been too many times that this dude's, gotten away with things for 3 times now. There's something wrong.
Well, there is a growing chorus that wants answers from the AG's office, and it's turning into a Kern County Epstein situation where they want 17 got turned down for the public records. JR has now asked a public records request from the Sheriff's Department to find out and maybe get some of the body cam video of what happened that day in Tehachapi.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, why, if you call 911, Tehachapi PD's right there. What is the sheriff has, a 20-minute response time? Aren't they in the Mojave substation? I think the old Roseman substation is now a marijuana dispensary. Is the irony of that. But, that would have probably been the best thing to happen. I will say, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, with his mother, if, she is there and she did tell that child, I don't know whose child it was.
Scrivener's.
Okay.
Zach's 4 kids.
I don't know that for a fact. I wasn't there. So if she had told that child, I want your mother to be here before you speak to the police, I think that would have been appropriate and in the child's best interest, if that's the case. So things can be taken out of context. And I will say that, maybe that was the situation. Because you know what?
We'll never know, Heather. I got a hard break. I got to cut you off. I'm sorry. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Quick time out. We're coming right back.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Federal agents today, one day after a woman was fatally shot by immigration agents in Minneapolis. Portland police officers responded to the report of a shooting around 2:18 p.m. local time on January 8th. Officers confirmed that federal agents were involved in the shooting. 2 people are hospitalized. More details as they become available. The Senate has advanced a resolution that would limit President Trump's ability to conduct further attacks against Venezuela. The 52-47 vote to advance the War Powers Resolution ensures a vote next week on final passage. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 270 points. The Nasdaq dropped 104. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. American Airlines says you will not be able to get from Bakersfield to Dallas-Fort Worth on their airline from February 11th to April 7th. They say the decision to suspend flights during those weeks was a seasonal adjustment. Residents in the Green Acres area along Rosedale Highway may see 75 streetlights cut off because they rejected a proposal to add a $19 fee to their property taxes each year to keep them on. They are already paying a $28 fee. You're being promised some improvements on 8th Street, and the city of Bakersfield is inviting you to a community meeting to find out what those improvements will be Monday at 6 p.m. at Harvey Auditorium at Bakersfield High School. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. If you're eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. You know, for years, I've been telling you QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today at 661-554-4544 and let us help you understand your options for 2026. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs and meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Friday's Armstrong and Getty show, things will either have intensified or cooled down around the whole Minnesota shooting. We'll have the very latest.
Oh my goodness, in Venezuela and Greenland and Cuba and Iran, what's next? Plus, what's the hottest article of clothing in America? It's the hoodie Maduro was wearing when he was all shackled up. What is right? Next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Well, I'm so lonely. I'll be so lonely I could die.
Man, it is so cold in here. What's going on, Ray? Get in here. What's going on, boy? It's good to see you, man. How you been?
Running around.
Yeah? Working for Rusty?
Periodically, yeah.
That's a mistake.
Don't be mean.
I'm kidding. It's good to see you, Pop.
You too, man.
Yeah. Take care.
Shooting areas, so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. It's our man. He used to be our engineer. I got some great stories about it. I'll tell you I didn't tell you the Casey Steakhouse story. It's a great story.
Is there a clean version?
It's not dirty, but it involves
stuff
other people.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I don't want to put them on Broad Street. All right, I'll tell the story. I won't name the couple, but there is a very well-known couple who I won't name because their names are similar. But anyway, and Ray, I don't know. It's the camera's on me, so I don't think you saw Ray. But Ray's a good-looking guy. He's a big-built cat, and I took him to Casey's Steakhouse one night. and this very well-known couple was there, and somehow the seating got arranged where I was sitting next to Ray to my right, and the wife of this well-known couple was sitting to the right of Ray, and the husband was sitting to the left of me. Okay? So we're having drinks, we're talking, and Ray is getting along well with the wife. And the husband is looking down at the bar and is starting to get annoyed. So much to the point where after about 15 minutes, he starts throwing food at them. Are you paying attention to this story?
I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening.
It's a great story. And so he starts throwing food at them across the bar. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Well, I'd like to talk to my wife. I was like, well, she's talking to my man here, talking to Ray. Wow. So another 5 or 10 minutes goes by, and he's like, well, this is enough. And he gets up and he storms out of the restaurant and he kicks the chair. I'm not putting up with this, and storms out of the restaurant. Ray's like, well, what did I do? And the wife was like, I'm so sorry. And she had to go running after him, and then she came back and she apologized to everybody. And I don't know, maybe it wasn't as great a story as I thought it was. You had to have been there. It was just funny because it like built up. Like to see a grown man throw food at his wife because she's talking to somebody. I just had never seen anything like that. And I wanted to quote my dad, but I didn't. You know my dad's quote, don't you, Chris? You don't know my dad's quote?
I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
White people.
It was that one. Okay. That's why I was curious. I was like, it can't be that one, but okay.
Throwing food across the bar?
Nah, it is kind of weird, yeah.
No, I could see black folks doing that too, though. I can see black folks.
I don't know if that's a white people thing.
Yeah, it really isn't. It really is. That wasn't fair. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So a couple in Ohio are mysteriously murdered, and police right now don't have a clue. But again, don't be alarmed, because as I like to say, you can't get away with murder in the 21st century. You just can't. You just can't do it. And it is the weirdest. I think what is going to happen inevitably is that one of them, either the husband or the wife, has some lurid secret that the families aren't aware of. Again, this was a murder in a fairly affluent area where their 4 and 1 year old were in the home at the time and were absolutely unharmed, were completely unaware of what happened. All police found were 3 9mm casings from a 9mm gun, obviously handgun. And there is a person of interest that was caught walking, not a very good liking. He had a hoodie on, had his head down. He is a person of interest. But again, it is similar to the, what was the shooting where they had video of somebody who had encountered the shooter, and then he was a janitor. It was the school shooting at, was it Brown? Yeah.
Yes.
It was Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. And they found video of a man who had contact with the person of interest. So these videos, even though they don't have a really good liking of the man, these videos and these Ring cameras and the fact that, as I like to say, you're on video the minute you pull your key out of your front door is going to lead to something, which leads to something, which leads to something. You know, murders aren't solved like Columbo in an hour and a half. You get one piece of evidence. Something leads you to something that leads you to this person who tells you about this, and boom, 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 boom. And then you try to put them all together, give it the DA's office, and they make the charges. They'll find this person. It'll be something, and I hate to make the victims out to sound as if they had played a role in this. But how else can you speculate? That someone just randomly chose a home and broke in and shot 2 people? I find that kind of almost impossible to believe, that there had to be a motive. This just wasn't some random shooting. And a lot of times, I mean, you have no idea what's going on in people's lives. You know, he was a successful dentist. He might have been a gambling freak who owed the local mob money. He might have been sleeping with somebody else's wife. I mean, there's a whole number of issues, but there's always a motive. I don't think people break into people's homes with that kind of knowledge and whack a couple like that for absolutely no reason. That's just my take. I don't know what y'all think. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Let's try to clear the board.
I got a caller for you real quick.
Who you got?
Spencer is on the line.
Spencer, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Bottom line, if Uncle Fluffy had never have existed as our president, we wouldn't be seeing what's going on today. He has blood on his hands. And that's because of his ignorance at what he did and what he didn't know during his administration in flooding the gates and all these people, the majority of them criminal, who came into this country, who should be on billboards with the slogan, "That's why we have birth control."
Okay, that's an interesting take. I don't know if it was ignorance. I think the Democratic Party wanted those people in because I think they assumed they would be Democrats.
They did, and to get illegal votes.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
But God bless our president, because we haven't had a man in office that I can remember who's played the game that he's playing and who's got the balls to do what he's doing.
Do you like the way we're going about the immigration situation?
Look, for years, immigration has been broken. For years, nothing substantial has been done. It's been just riding along and riding along. I think at this point in time, because of flooding the gates, you have to get to the problem and you have to eliminate the problem before you can sit down and decide on a game plan. I truly believe that there can be a game plan, but before you sit down and think about a game plan, you have to eliminate the waste.
Okay. All right, Spencer. Thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
You too. Boy, he had a spooky voice. Didn't he? Scared the crap out of me.
A little raspy.
I don't know. It just seemed a little spooky to me. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the day. Headed to Casey's Steakhouse tonight. Don't think I'm going to have red meat, though. And I don't think I'm going to have my little chicken deal either. I have something different. Maybe a pork chop? Any suggestions, Mr. Burdick?
Pork chop's always nice, actually.
I haven't had a pork chop in so long.
Oh. Maybe some lamb?
I don't know if they have lamb on the menu.
Lamb on the menu? Actually, that's what I was thinking in my head. I don't think I've ever seen them do that.
I don't think so. They have duck.
Ooh, there you go.
I'm a big lover of duck. I want something different tonight. I had spaghetti and meatballs last night from Eureka's. That was pretty tasty. Pretty doggone tasty. It is a Thursday on the Ralph Bailey Show. Take our final time out. Tomorrow's a Friday. Rick Bentley will be here along with Brandon Lang, making one of his final appearances as we head into the playoffs in both collegiate and NFL football. And I am efforting an interview with one other guest I'll tell you about it tomorrow. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Why is our HR woman still here? Standing at 6 o'clock.
That can't be good.
Huh?
I said that can't be good.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. Maybe she's working on her health care.
Possible.
We're
Or
supposed
the
to be
new
changing health care in March.
either that or maybe the handbook.
Say what?
Either that or fixing up the handbook.
The handbook?
Yeah, the company handbook that we sign every year. Whenever you're ready.
I hope she's working on her medical stuff, boy.
I just hope that don't mean somebody. Here.
Somebody's getting whacked.
I hope not.
I don't think she makes that decision. She just is the one that tells them they're fired.
Oh no, that's not. Well, yeah, I know she's not going to be making that decision, but.
All right, what'd we do today? Three, two. I really thought by early January we would be done with the Zach Scrivener case, but this thing is growing momentum. And now with elected officials and the executive director of the Open Door Network starting a petition, there is pressure, Epstein style, on the AG's office to release information on how they made the decision to prosecute Zach Scrivener and give him a lane for mental diversion. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Friday TRBS. Of course, it's a Friday, so Rick Bentley from KGT will join us, and Brandon Lang will make one of his final appearances as we head into collegiate and NFL playoffs, all that, plus me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Not again. This copier is always jamming.
We should call American Business Machines.
Since 1927, American Business Machines, an authorized Canon dealer, has been providing reliable office solutions. From state-of-the-art copiers to advanced printers, we ensure your business runs smoothly. Visit abm1.com or call us today at 1-877-YES-ABM1. That's 1-877-937-2261. American Business Machines, your trusted partner for all your office technology needs.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to
demanding the AG's office do something is added now. Congressman David Valdeo, KGT TV 17, is reporting that the congressman on Thursday joined Republican Senator Shannon Grove and Democratic Assembly member Jasmine Baines in calling on the California Department of Justice to explain the lack of sex charges in Zach Scrivener's case. Meanwhile, prominent news publications like the Los Angeles Times and the New York Post wrote their own stories on Scrivener's mental health diversion, which ensured he does not see a day in jail. Scrivener was charged with child abuse instead of a sex crime, even though the allegations are darker and sexually perverted in nature. If Scrivener had been charged with a sex crime, he would not have been eligible for diversion. The California Attorney General's office took the case because Scrivener's aunt is District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer. For almost a month, 17 News has been asking AG prosecutors why they charged Scrivener the way they did, leaving out sex crime charges, even though the allegation is that he fondled a child's breast and genital area for 10 minutes as she was frozen in fear. Now, a partial response, quote, "We carefully reviewed the facts of the case and filed charges we believe we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt at trial." There was no further explanation, and our request to interview Attorney General Rob Bonta went unanswered. If Scrivener completes his diversion program, there won't be a trial. The case will simply disappear. When you charge charges and you leave out sexual abuse charges, you are creating a loophole for someone to get a pretrial mental health diversion, said Baines. She sent letters to the California Department of Justice and to the U.S. DOJ asking for transparency in the way Scrivener was charged and for a federal intervention. She says she still has not received an answer back. The Scrivener case fits a disturbing pattern. Powerful individuals accused of harming children seem to get special treatment in our justice system, she said. This thing is growing. Valadeo, meantime, said, crimes involving the sexual or physical abuse of a child represent some of the most horrific violations imaginable. In light of serious allegations involving Zach Scrivener, there must be full transparency and accountability for how this case was handled. Democrats in Sacramento could fix this problem tomorrow, but those choose not to. In the absence of their leadership, the U.S. Department of Justice should step in to review the charges, the legal decisions that were made, and whether justice was adequately served. Well said, Mr. Valadeo. I'm telling you, this thing ain't going away. This thing has an Epstein-like life to it, and it ain't going away. And Kathy Scrivener, I don't think will be attending the school board meeting on Monday, but we will see. And that will be a rumpus if she does. I can guarantee you that the line of questioners won't be questions, but they'll be demanding her resignation. I can guarantee you that. 842-5376, 842-KER, and let's clear the board. Let's get out of here.
When I had my son in childcare, he is now 12. It was $350 to $400 from 6 to 6 p.m. as soon as government got involved in childcare and guaranteed the money. It went from 9 to 6. From 6, 9, 12, 15, like with everything. As soon as the government gets involved, it gets more expensive.
Ain't that the truth? We'll move to New York. Mr. Memdani is giving away free childcare.
What was that place that just got busted for all the...
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, exactly.
Minneapolis. All the fraud. And that kid, I forget his name, Nick something, who went to...
All of them.
All of them. And there was one learning center. It was called the Learning Center. They misspelled the word learning.
L-E-R-N?
I don't know how the hell they spelled it, but it was misspelled.
Oh, Lord.
It's like...
Arning?
Yeah, how do you misspell learn? That's really difficult. What else you got?
Ralph, did you ever see that Reiner's big-time attorney is no longer representing him? He now has a public defender.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday with the audio from Alan Jackson. No, not that Alan Jackson. Way down south on the Chattahoochee. No, Alan Jackson, the renowned attorney who is well known for winning unwinnable cases. He is the attorney that represented Karen Reed, the woman in Massachusetts who was accused of killing her policeman boyfriend, when in fact it appears that she was set up by her friends who may have killed him in their home. And I don't have time, 6 minutes, 4 minutes, but I don't have time to explain it. But go ahead and, if you don't know about the Karen Reed story, go Google that and read about it. It's fascinating. In fact, she is suing the people that tried to accuse her of the murder. But like I said yesterday, my guess is Jackson, the kid's a schizophrenic, and Jackson couldn't do anything with him. And he's probably uncooperative and just just he couldn't represent him. But it was fascinating, and this is why I say that I think it's mental health. It was fascinating at the very end of Jackson's press conference. He said, I will say this irrefutably, Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder. Now, he did not say Nick Reiner did not kill his parents. There's a big difference between saying he's not guilty. There's a big difference between saying he's not guilty and he's innocent, that he didn't do it. And it's clear that his plea will be not guilty due to insanity. There's talk that his medication changed about a month before the incident, and there were a number of incidents that led up to the famous or infamous Conan O'Brien Christmas party where Nick Reiner it was a formal affair. He showed up with a hoodie. He was running around the party asking people, are you a celebrity? What do you do? And then he got into it with Bill Hader, a comedian who's trying to have a private conversation, and Reiner was eavesdropping or trying to be part of the conversation, and apparently Rob had to go over and grab him and what the hell are you doing? And a big row started and they had to leave the party. And there were some reports that he wasn't even invited. I heard that Rob and Michelle had asked Conan if they could bring him. But there are other reports that I read in the New York Post where he just kind of showed up, kind of followed his parents. But, you know, it's like OJ. If he didn't do it, then who did? I mean, the daughter who lives across the street, who found her dad's body, the first thing she told the police were, go find my brother. What else you got?
Let's see. Not surprising that average citizens are becoming radicalized. Movies like One Battle After Another, which is a favorite to win a big Oscar, glamorizing anti-police, anti-military behavior throughout violent means.
Yeah, Democrats are, turn your mic off. Democrats are trying to change the world. They really are. They're trying to change America. It has gotten it has gone so far left where you see these anti-ICE groups, these charter schools that are talking about social justice and not education. I'm sure the pendulum's going to swing back. I don't know how long it's going to take, but these midterms are going to be interesting. The 28 presidential election is going to be interesting because this may be one of the most important election periods we've ever seen. It really may. And depending on who wins is depending on what direction the country is going. That wasn't the case when we old folks were kids. You know what I'm saying? The divide between Republicans and Democrat were not so wide as to the country going in a different direction if one or the other won. You know what I'm saying? One more? We got one more before we get out of here?
Yeah, I got one more here. It says, at least he didn't say McDonald's was better. I went to one of the original In-N-Outs in San Fernando in the 80s.
Referring to my nephew preferring In-N-Out over Tommy's, which just is insane. Just absolutely insane.
Really is.
I mean, there's absolutely no comparison. And I'm an In-N-Out fan. I just think it's overrated.
Oh, it's very much overrated.
Yeah. I mean, you can't drive down Stockdale Highway without seeing a line twisting in that little complex. Same thing for Chick-fil-A. I'm a big Chick-fil-A fan, but I think it's completely overrated. But there's nothing like Tommy's. Nothing like it. Fat Burger's close. Fat Burger's close, particularly the one in Westwood. I want to thank our guests today, Lauren Skidmore, Executive Director of the Open Door Network, Mike Turnipseed, Executive Director of the Current Tax Association, and our money man, Daniel Petrey from Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I will rap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Could Texas Senator Ted Cruz end up on the U.S. Supreme Court? That was the intriguing possibility raised by President Trump today. In an exclusive interview with Salem Radio Network talk host Hugh Hewitt, the president was asked to comment on a number of potential nominees if an opening should occur on the high court during his remaining 3 years in the White House.
No, those are all great names. Every one of those names is a great name. Now, Ted Cruz, the nice part about him is we get a 100% approval. Every Democrat would vote yes, and every Republican would vote yes, because they would love to get him the hell out of the Senate, all of them. So that he's the only one that would be a guaranteed confirmation, and he's a smart guy. He's a good guy.
In his Salem interview, the president spoke